Wireless technology resolves many wire-based issues in wireless media or forms of electromagnetic radiation. It allows two or more entities to communicate over long distance without the need for wires or connections of any kind. This compromise a radio frequency and infrared wave communication. So what are the advantages of wireless networks? Number one, providing anywhere access to users who are not linked to a cable. Wireless networks do not require wires or cords. Users may communicate even while moving. It enables users to travel without being disconnected. As a result, productivity has increased. Number two, easy to install. When compared to a wired network, installing a wireless network is faster and easier. It also avoids the use of difficult to install cables and offers a safety concern because the user may trip on the wires and falls. Number three, wireless networks have a greater reach than wired networks. They can easily expand to areas where wires and cables are inaccessible. Number two, efficiency. Wireless networks enable enhanced and more efficient data transmissions. The movement of information between users is substantially faster on wireless networks. And lastly, number five, reducing installation costs. Wireless networks are cost effective because they are less expensive and easier to set up even though their initial investment is substantial. Their total expenditures decrease within time. And here's are the disadvantage of a wireless networks. Number one is security. When using wireless network, security is a major concern. If a wireless network is not properly installed or supported, it might pose serious security risks. Number two is speed. The wireless network speed is lower than that of wired networks. Transferring or distributing files over a wireless network is substantially slower. The speed is also affected by the user locations on the network. The user connection deteriorates as he or she moves away from the network. These are major issues in large spaces or complex. Number three, wireless networks have limited bandwidth. It also restricts expandability because of the lack of a wireless spectrum to copy. If the network is not password secured, it can easily steal bandwidth. Number four, coverage. A wireless network's coverage area is limited. A basic wireless router also allows users to connect to the network at a range of 150 to 300 feet for the last. Number five, fundamental computer knowledge. Setting up a wireless network requires a basic understanding of computers. Unexperienced computer users have difficulty setting up a wireless network. There is a considerable security risk and hackers may quickly hack those networks. So what are the major current wireless networking technologies? Number one, radio wave technologies, short and range and popular option. Number two, infrared technologies, short range. Number three, terrestrial and satellite microwave.
And now let's talk about radio wave technologies. A radio wave is a type of electromagnetic signal designed to carry information through the air over relatively long distance. For example, cellular networks, radar, radio astronomy, and satellite communication. This example has antenna that can send and receive data or information from far distance. Radio waves are also known as radio frequency RF signal. These signals have a very high frequency, allowing them to flow through the air like a wave on the ocean. Radio waves have been in use for many years. They prove the means for carrying music to FM radio and video to television. In addition, radio waves are the primary means for carrying data over a wireless network. Frequency is used to measure processing speed, and it's defined as a rate of radio signal to send and receive communication signal. Frequency describes the number of waves that pass a fixed place in a given amount of time. Amplitude is the height of the wave. It also tells us how much energy waves has. Waves with more energy, the higher amplitudes. Or the amplitude is the power of signal. The greater amplitude, the greater energy carried. Spread spectrum is a technique used for wireless communication in telecommunication and radio communication. In other words, spread spectrum is a technique in which the transmitted signal of a specific frequency are varied slightly to obtain the greater bandwidth as compared to essential bandwidth. Ano nga ba yung bandwidth? Bandwidth is the maximum amount of data transmitted over an internet connection in a given amount of time. And here are the directional signals transmitted between buildings. Transmission involves sending and receiving antennas. Waves in short in length and low power, 1 to 10 watts. Suitable for line-of-sight transmission. Signal goes from point to point on Earth's surface. Limitation due to interruption, such as hills. Data capacity range 1 Mbps to over 300 MB.
And now let's talk about the advantages and disadvantages of radio wave communications. Advantages of radio waves communication. 1. Can save money where it is difficult or expensive to run cable. Kasi not all of us ay afford ang magpakabit ng cable or if the cable is really expensive. 2. Useful in situations where portable computers deployed. It is really useful kasi kahit saan mo dalhin yung phones, tablets, or iPad mo ay pwede with the use of radio wave of course. Relatively easy or inexpensive to install. Yun nga, hindi siya magastos. Disadvantages of radio wave communication. Wireless networks are more susceptible to interference, such as interference caused by certain building materials and by surrounding electrical devices. 2. Some wireless frequencies are shared by amateur radio operators, the US military, and cell phone companies, can cause interference. If madaming gumagamit, it can get overload. 3. Interference from natural obstacles. For example, is storms or fog may posibilidad na magkaroon ng traffic. 4. Inadequate security. Kung hindi ito na-maintain ng maayos, it may cause security threats.
IEEE 802.11 Radio Wave Networking. It is the IEEE 802.11 group. But wait, is IEEE 802.11 and Wi-Fi same? Yes, the technical name for Wi-Fi is IEEE 802.11 and it is key to everyday life, enabling data to be transferred to devices from a router or hotspot. The most influential wireless standards includes 802.11a, 802.11b, 802.11g, and 802.11n. Communication with 802.11 devices is non-proprietary. Ibig sabihin po, hindi pagmamayari. There is a features of 802.11 standards that encompass either fixed or mobile wireless stations and involve two kinds of communications, asynchronous and synchronous. So, the first is asynchronous. Asynchronous is the discrete units with start and stop beat. The second type consists of those governed by time restrictions in which the signal has a given amount of time to reach its destination or is considered loss corrupted. To support SNMP protocol and network authentication to operate at two lower OSI layers, data link and physical. Recognize indoor and outdoor wireless communication. Ang indoor operating environments maaaring isang office, building, a manufacturing area, a retail store, or a private home. At ang outdoor naman po ay university campus or a parking area.
Wireless components. Wireless networks use an access point, also called a wireless access point, to provide a gateway to the wired network and wireless local area network adapter, to provide a link between a wireless client PC and the AP. Ang access point, also known as wireless access point, ay nagsisilbing gateway sa wired network, habang ang local area network adapter ay nagsisilbing link sa pagitan ng wireless client PC at AP. An access point connects to the wired network. and can simultaneously provide wireless links to many wireless adapters. A typical AP allows 32 or 64 wireless adapters to be connected simultaneously. May support the following types of network interfaces: AUI, 10 base 2, 10 base T, 100 base technologies, 1000 base technologies, 40 GB Ethernet technologies, 100 GB Ethernet technologies, FDDI, cable modem port or DSL telecommunications port. Ang isang access point ay kumukonekta sa isang wired network o direkta sa isang cable DSL modem. Maaaring magbigay ng mga wireless na koneksyon sa ilang mga wireless adapter sa parehong oras. An antenna is a device that radiates and receives a radio waves. Most are either directional or omnidirectional. Ang antenna ay isang aparato na nag-iilaw at tumatanggap ng mga radio wave. Karamihan ay ang direction at ang omnidirection. Directional antenna sends radio waves in one main direction. Amplifies signal better than omnidirectional antenna. It gains amplification of radiated signal and for application transmitting signals between buildings. Each building has an antenna. Antenna is connected to access points. Signal has more gain in one direction and small portion of signal is radiated outward. Directional antenna. Ang mga radio wave nito ay pinapadala sa isang direction lamang at may malakas itong signal at mas epektibo kaysa sa omnidirectional antenna. Ito ay may signal amplification at ginagamit upang magpadala ng mga signal sa pagitan ng mga gusali at ang mga bawat antena sa mga gusali ay konektado sa mga access point. Omnidirectional antenna receive signals equally from all directions. Directional antennas pull in signals better from one direction. It deployed varies with devices such as WNIC on portable devices. Use a snap-on antenna access point for indoor network and outdoor access point. Connects to antenna via a cable. Ang omnidirectional antenna naman ay tumatanggap ng mga signal mula sa lahat ng direksyon. Sa pantay na dami din ito. It deployed varies with devices such as WNIC or Wi-Fi network controller. Mga portable na device ay gumagamit ng snap-on antenna, access point para sa interior network, at gumagamit ng cable para kumonekta sa antenna.
The access method is a way of sharing a common transmission medium between several hosts. Two access methods are priority-based and CSMA/CA. First, priority-based access is an access point device functions as a point coordinator. Point coordinator establishes contention-free period during which it polls stations to see which devices need to transmit and intended for time-sensitive communication. So as we can see, it is an access method in HCR 2.11 wireless networking in which the access point device also functions as a point coordinator. The point coordinator gives each station that has been polled an opportunity to communicate one at a time, thus ensuring that only one device communicates at a given moment. Our second access method is carrier sense multiple access/collision avoidance, also called the distributed coordination function, and coordinate nodes using DIFS delay and backup time. CSMA/CA works to avoid collisions. And it is also an access method used in HCR 2.11 wireless networking that relies on the calculation of a delay or backup time to avoid packet collisions.
Good morning everyone. I am J. Vincent B. Flores, and today I will discuss about the transmission speed. Let us first define what is a transmission speed. So, as you can read on the slide, this is the rate at which data are moved across a communication channel. As the word itself, this talks about how fast or slow a particular data moves across a communication channel. As you can see on this slide, these are the transmission speed of common LAN and WAN technologies. And as being flashed on this slide, it corresponds to the physical layer of OSI model. Transmission speed are defined through 4 IEEE standards: 802.11a, 802.11b, 802.11g, and 802.11n. And there are two newer very high-speed wireless LAN standards under development, which are 802.11ac and 802.11ad. For the first two out of four IEEE standards, we have 802.11a and 802.11b. 802.11a transmit data over a wireless network. It uses a 5 GHz frequency band and supports data transfer rates of 54 Mbps or 6.75 megabytes per second, while 802.11b outlines speed in the 2.4 GHz frequency range with a minimum speed of 1 Mbps up to the maximum speed of 11 Mbps. For the third and fourth transmission speed that were defined through for IEEE standards, we have 802.11g and 802.11n. 802.11g has very fast operating speed and signal range is also good and is not easily abstracted. It supports three transmission methods on the 2.4 GHz band. But there are restrictions and consideration using 802.11g. This is the fact that devices must support minimum speed by standard slightly shorter range than 802.11b, smaller bandwidth 90 MHz than 802.11a or 802.11b, and devices combined with 802.11b devices on one LAN. On the other hand, 802.11n uses a technology called multiple input multiple output or MIMO with spatial multiplexing. Multiple frames can be aggregated together in one transmission. Number of times a channel must be acquired and released is significantly reduced due to frame aggregation, making it more efficient than other 802.11 technologies can use 20 and 40 MHz channels within the 2.4 and 5 GHz bands. At this writing, most 802.11n devices have a top speed of 300 plus Mbps. For the last part of my report, here are the new very high-speed wireless LAN standards under development. First, we have 802.11ac. 802.11ac is currently under development. It designed around the technologies used by 802.11 and expands transmission capabilities to use the 80 MHz channel for even wider bandwidth. For the second one, we have 802.11ad. 802.11ad is also under development. It targets at accomplishing transmission speed of roughly 7 Gbps. Operates using 60 MHz channel designed for shorter transmission distances, likely to be restricted by walls, and manufacturers are looking at 802.11ad for Wi-Fi based phone communication and HD movies on big screen wireless TV. Again, I am J. Vincent. Thank you for listening.
Alternative radio waves technologies. In communication technologies such as television, mobile phones, and radios, radio waves are the most well-known type of electromagnetic radiation. To produce sound waves, these devices receive radio waves and turn them into mechanical vibrations in the speaker. It creates sound So as alternative, the popular alternatives to 802.11 group are, one of these is Bluetooth. So balik muna tayo sa 802.11. Para sa kaalaman ng lahat, 802.11 is the original wireless specification or it describes connection in wireless networking. What is Bluetooth? Every one of us already know kung ano ang Bluetooth at paano ang gamit nito. In addition to your knowledge, it is an open wireless technology para mag-exchange ng data over short distance. And Bluetooth devices are divided into 3 classes base sa range nila. Class 1 ay umaabot ng 100 meters or exactly 50 steps ang layo. At ang Class 2 naman ay 10 meters tulad ng mga wireless devices like keyboards, mice, microphone, and audio devices. At ang Class 3 ay about 1 meter para sa close-range transmission, for example is monitoring devices and watches. High-Performance Radio Local Area Network or HyperLAN. It is an alternative wireless LAN standards to the IEEE 802.11. There's HyperLAN 2, which is the second version, and it offers more features in the mandatory part of the standard, and it offers 54 megabit per second at the physical layer. And based on my research, it is also about 35 megabit per second at the network layer. And each connection has its own set of QoS parameters or quality of service parameters.
Infrared technologies, broadcast in single direction or all directions. Advantages of infrared medium are expensive, difficult to intercept, and not susceptible to radio frequency interference or electromagnetic interference. Slow data transmissions between 1 and 16 Mbps does not penetrate walls and experiences interference from a strong visible light. These are the disadvantages of infrared medium. Pag sinabing infrared technologies, gumagamit siya ng radio wave na ang tawag ay infrared. Ang advantage ng infrared ay mura siya, di kagaya ng ibang transmission at di sila basta-basta naharangan ng kahit anong bagay pag nagtatransmit ng signal. Ang disadvantages nito, kailangan point-to-point connection siya, meaning dapat nakatapat siya sa target niya, hindi siya tumatagos sa wall. Halimbawa nito, yung remote ng TV. Yung remote ng TV pag ginamit mo, hindi naaagaw ang signal niya. Kaso, di rin tumatagos sa dingding pag ginamit mo. Wireless Metropolitan Area Network. Worldwide Interoperability for Microwave Access, WiMAX, operates in the 2 to 66 GHz range. The IEEE 802.16 standard provides connectivity up to 75 Mbps with a reach up to 48 kilometers 30 miles. WiMAX can be a cost-effective way to create a network over several miles. Yung Wireless Metropolitan Area Network ay karaniwang ginagamit sa mga metropolitan. Halimbawa ng metropolitan ay university, campuses, or business na malawak. Ang main purpose ng paggamit ng Wireless Metropolitan Area Network ay magbigay ng connection wireless sa malawak na lugar. Kasi ang WAN ay kayang umabot ng 100 meters ang layo mula sa server ng connection. Wireless hotspots, the location that provide the public access point to users. There's two types of wireless hotspots. Stationary. Examples include a library, an airport, a coffee shop, or hotel. Mobile 3G and 4G networks make it possible for individuals to create their own wireless hotspots from any location that is accessible by a cell phone. Pag wireless hotspots, yun yung most commonly used or madalas at kilala na gamit. Pag stationary, ibig sabihin sa isang certain location lang. Halimbawa, kumakain ka sa restaurant at may free wifi. Stationary hotspot yun. Pag naman mobile, Yun yung built-in sa phone natin na may 3G or 4G network capability.
Hi, ako nga pala si Nico de Guzman at ang report ko ay cellular phone communication and microwave technologies. Cellular phone communication. It works on some basis of packet radio. Smartphone or cell phone acts as a radio transmitter and receiver equipped with an omnidirectional antenna. Ang smartphone o cellphone daw po ay gumagana isang radio transmitter and receiver. Pwede po silang mapag-send ng messages or data. Pwede silang pwede mag-transmit and mag-receive na merong omnidirectional antenna. Ang omnidirectional antenna po ay klase ng antenna na nagbibigay ng pantay na signal ng radyo sa lahat ng direction. In any direction po, nakakakuha ng signal ang smartphone or cellphone. So, pwede kang receive kahit saan. Pero it depends pa rin po sa location. May location po kasi minsan na mahina ang signal. Microwave technologies have theoretical bandwidth up to 720 Mbps and beyond work one of two ways. Ang microwave technologies mayroon po siyang two ways. Yun po yung terrestrial microwave and satellite microwave. Sa terrestrial microwave, two-directional parabolic antennas. Dishes it perform in ranges 4 to 6 GHz and 21 to 23 GHz. Yung microwave terrestrial microwave do po may tulin na 4 to 6 GHz and 21 to 23 GHz. Uses of terrestrial microwave transmission, the cabling costs are too high, whereas the cabling wireless option is not quite. Yung terrestrial microwave daw po is mas common po sa yung may wired po, yung nagamitan ng mga wired. Yung wireless option is po, not possible. Then kagaya po dito yung nasa picture. Picture dito sa baba. Tower to tower siya. Nakakonect sila each tower. Then satellite microwave. Transmit signal between or three antennas, one or antenna on satellite and satellite in space. Yung connection speed are currently 2 to 3 Mbps with your system providing up to 12 Mbps. Yung satellite microwave po may tatlong antennas. Yung dalawa nandito sa Earth, then yung isa nasa outer space. Then may connection speed siya na sa ngayon may 2 to 3 Mbps with your system providing up to 12 Mbps. Mas pinalakas nila ngayon. Then the user equipment needed for satellite communication or satellite dish about 2 or 3 feet in diameter. Digital modems to transmit receive signal. Coaxial like cable from modem to dish. USB cable from modem to USB port on computer software from provider to enable setup. May example po dito. Kagaya po nung example sa picture, magka-transmit ng data itong transmitter station. Then, mapupunta siya kay satellite sa outer space. Then, yung satellite na yun, mapupunta ngayon dito sa may kabilang picture. Dito sa may bahay, may receiving station. Then yun, yung receiving station yun, magagamit ng katugon satellite dish katugon siya kay transmitting digital modem gamit ng coaxial cable. Then, nakatugon ito sa receiving digital modem. Pwede silang mag-transmit then mag-receive ng digital modem. Kaya, ayun. Pag both makakapag-receive and makakapag-ano ka ng data. Then, receiving digital modem, nakakonect ito sa laptop gamit ang USB cable. Then, makikita mo na yung pinadala sa yung data or message.